guys yet. Okay, I'm just making sure the event is recording, which it is. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Okay. WinZip. Can everyone see my screen? Yep. Okay. Good. Always want to confirm. Okay. Good. Excellent. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and go to the control panel right now. This is the design I'm working on at the moment. One of the things we kind of want to discuss today on the ULPs, and we're really going to strictly stick to the user language program section. If we go ahead now and open any of these, let me make sure I cleared this here. Talk about that in a second. If we go ahead and open any of these, they open up an Eagle's built-in text editor. Now it's usable. It's very basic. It's pretty much just a step above Windows Notepad, if that. It gives us line numbers, gives us column numbers, basic find and replace functionality. However, if anyone listening has done coding for any amount of time, you probably have a preferred text editor that you use for your normal coding needs. Like I said, this is bare minimum. This is good enough to get something going. However, most of us are used to features like syntax highlighting and code completion and things like that make it easier to write code. And the default Eagle text editor doesn't contain any of this. So one of the goals here today is to show you how you can set up a text editor so that you do have syntax highlighting and you do have code completion when working with Eagle ULPs and when writing your own ULPs. So to do that, there's two main programs that we're going to discuss today. Okay, if you're on a Windows machine, our recommendation is usually just Notepad++. It's a free text editor. It is open source. It's very fast under Windows. It works efficiently, and I personally enjoy it a lot. If you're under Linux or Mac, then another text editor we can recommend is Geany. Okay, and we're going to show you both. Geany is available under Windows as well, but I find it's not as clean as Notepad++ is under Windows. So let me go ahead and show you both. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show you guys is Notepad++. And this is the one we're going to tend to recommend for Windows users. So I double-click it, and it opens up this ULP that I was working on previously. Okay, and as you can notice, as you guys can notice here, we have syntax sliding, we have comments. It actually does take into account Eagle's built-in directives, so like string variables, which aren't part of standard C. So you can see it's highlighted here. We can define other variables and other setups here. Again, this is very basic, but we get all the syntax highlighting. All of Eagle's internal ULP functions are highlighted, so it's very easy to work with. I wanted to highlight this one. This is the function I made. Okay, so it's very, very straightforward to set up these functions, and if you're used to, whatever editor you are, be it Vim or Emacs or anything like that, those types of things you can also set up in those languages. So how do we do this? How do we arrive at getting the coloration, getting the syntax highlighting and being able to really clearly see how the code is organized in our ULP? Okay, the way we do this is go to our website, go to cadsoftusa.com. You go to Downloads, but you're going to pick Tools and Converter. Okay, we click here. Under Tools and Converter, if we start scrolling down, we're going to find the two latest definitions. One is for Notepad, the other one is for Geany. Okay? So depending on whichever text editor you're using, you just download the appropriate file. Okay, so let's say for Notepad, we'll go ahead and we'll download this one. Okay, save, open. Go over here. I had already opened this before, so that probably means I have it up here. Here it is. Okay, Notepad user-defined lang. Go into there. And we have a file for it, and then we have a simple README that has the instructions for implementing it. So you'll find the same thing in the Geany text file. Okay, when you download the Geany, you'll find basically a procedure to upload the language file. So let's go ahead and follow this procedure for Notepad++, even though we already have it installed, but so you guys can get a feel for it. Okay, so we go into Notepad++, we go language, we go down to define your language. You can see I already have Eagle ULP defined. Go over here, and you can go import. We go into that file that we downloaded. Basically, you select it and you hit open, and that will set up all of this. It'll give you the keyword list, and you can change the colors, and you can go very crazy, but that'll set up the basic syntax highlighting that we have here. Now, it's not perfect, okay? It doesn't always get everything 100% right, but it's a really big help. As you guys can see, it makes it very clear to write your own ULPs, makes it very simple. So the procedure for Geany is not quite as clean, but it is similar. Let's go ahead and check out Geany. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize these again. You would download the Geany ULP definition. If you're under Linux, this is the one we recommend, but it works under Windows as well, and I use it under Windows as well. As you can see, I have a whole bunch of files open and things. But again, if I go to my ULP here, I have syntax highlighting as well. And in Geany, I like the dark backgrounds, so I'll tend to use those. Okay, but again, we have syntax highlighting. Geany doesn't do code completion as well as Notepad++ does, at least under Windows. Under Linux, it does do a better job. Okay, but as you can see, it's far more familiar. You can collapse functions. All of those advanced text editor features that you don't get in Eagle's built-in text editor, you can access through an external text editor, which is what we've done here. So these are two examples. In the case of Geany, what you have to do is when you download the language file, over here I had previously downloaded it. What you have to do is you have to copy these two files into on a Windows machine. You go into the Geany program, which I believe is under Program Files here. Where did I put it? There you go. Geany, and then you go into Data, and you just save it here to Data. Okay, what was lost? Something was lost. Okay, so it looks like everything is all right. So you would just copy that to here, and that will basically give you the access to the ULP language within Geany. Afterwards, you'll have to restart, but then you'll get syntax highlights. As you can see, it's very easy to set it up in Notepad++ and in Geany. If you have a preferred text editor, if you look through the documentation of that text editor, you can probably find a way to create a similar file. If you do so, please, if you would like to share it, please upload it to the Tools and Converters section of our website. We would really appreciate it, and I'm sure many users that use your preferred text editor would also appreciate it. But so far, especially the Notepad++ one, that has seemed to be one of the more popular ones. Okay, so let's go into how we can use Eagle and the external text editor. Now, in the case of the Windows setup, I've never gotten it to 100% work, so be warned. Basically, it relies on the information. Let me close this. We go to the control panel. When you go Options User Interface, you'll see that you have this option for an external text editor. Basically, you put in whatever command line hooks your preferred text editor has. And what will happen is that whenever you try to open a text file of any sort, be it a ULP, a script, or anything like that, Eagle will call that program through here instead of using the built-in text editor. For some reason under Windows I haven't been able to get that to work 100%, but under Linux I was able to get it to work. And there's several tags that you can use to pass along the file name, the line number, the column. And if we look at the help, we'll see that here. If you just look up external, you'll find text editor. These are the different flags: the column for the cursor, the line to place the cursor, and the file name. Okay, and this Eagle will basically pass this on to that external text editor. Like I said, under Windows, I haven't been very successful. So most of the time when I'm going to write a ULP, I'll just open the text editor and start writing. Or I'll do a file open, and I can just browse to the ULP folder and just open whichever one I'm interested in. Okay? So let's look at how we can get documentation on the user language program. There's two main sources, and really they're identical, but some users prefer to do it through Eagle, some prefer to have a written document. Okay? So let's just go to, let me just reset this real quick, back to normal. Okay, and what we're going to do is if you go to the help in Eagle, you're going to see there's this section called user language program, user language. Everything that's documented about user language programming is in this section of the built-in Eagle help. Okay, so everything related to writing a ULP in Eagle, it's all located here in this one location. So you can look up the different pages, execution. Okay. One thing that's important to be aware of, okay, if you go here to this object types, this is one of the important documentation pages of the ULP language, possibly the most important. Okay. The thing we want to note here is in this particular page, it basically gives you the hierarchy for each of the main objects. Okay. So when you write a ULP that needs to extract information from a board or a schematic, you need to be really aware of how this is constructed, because basically the ULP language treats everything as an object hierarchy, starting at the top level, be it a library, a schematic, or a board, and then building down from there. And that's what you see here in the documentation. So you get the board B, then the elements of B, which we then name E, and then from each of those elements you can get the name, the value, and the hierarchy can continue to nest. So if we go over here, for example, board, you'll see board. Then we can go down, we find element, and then under element, we can find further attributes and further things that we can grab. So if we just go to element, we can see some of the other items that we can grab from it. Okay, so this is a very important page to be aware of, the object types page. Because it basically gives you the structure from which you'll be grabbing information from in your design. Obviously, in future advanced Eagle sessions, we will be going into this into more detail. We will be actually writing ULPs grabbing this data. But for now, just to give you guys kind of a head start and some reading, this is one of the key pages. If you can understand this page, you're 60% on your way to writing your own ULPs. Okay. Another important area are the built-ins. Okay. The built-ins are basically where the ULP language tends to deviate from standard C. Okay. So you're going to find the GUI elements are here, the dialogues. Okay. This is all Eagle's built-in GUI libraries for the user language program. Okay. So under dialogues, you'll find your file open. You'll find how you can make different objects, your grid manager, all that is here. So anything related to creating a GUI with a ULP, that's all going to be under the dialog section. Okay? So for a graphical user interface, all of that is here. The other important thing you'll find here under dialogs is a complete example. Okay, this gives you an idea of what's achievable. If you run this, you'll see a graphical user interface showing different buttons, different things you can click on. It's basically just a really quick overview of what is graphically possible with the ULP language. Yeah, another key point, and this is actually important for other dialogues in Eagle, not just user language programming. ULPs support all of the HTML tags that are listed here, okay, as well as a couple of additional characters that you can use here. So here we have mu for micro, okay, kind of important, as well as a few other symbols that can show up here. Okay, so this is good reading to have as well. See if there's anything else I wanted to cover about the ULPs in this session as far as setting up the workflow. Okay, is there any questions about configuring the text editors? Any concerns on that so far? One thing I am going to show you guys that I didn't go over is how you can obtain those text editors. If you just Google Notepad++, it'll take you to the official site for Notepad++, which is this one. Like I said, it's a very excellent tool. On Windows, you're hard pressed to beat it. And it is, like I said, open source text editor. So you could add to it, you can expand upon it. There's a big community that makes a lot of plugins for it. So highly encourage you guys to check it out. The other one is Geany. So if you just go to Google, search Geany, okay, Geany.org homepage. And the latest version is 1.27. Okay, you can download it here as well for Windows. If you guys have, if you're working under Linux, and you can get it from the repo. Okay. No guarantees that the repo is the latest version. Okay, so if worst case, you may have to build it from source if you want the latest and greatest. But if not, you can download Windows binaries here. How do we add Notepad++ as the editor in Eagle? Let's go ahead and discuss that. Because I just got a question. Yeah, so let's go back to that external text editor parameter. Like I said, I have not been able to do it successfully, but the basic idea would be as follows. So you go into Eagle, Control Panel, Options, User Interface. You're going to see this external text editor option here. Okay, so ideally, okay, what you would do is, like under Windows, it would be Start, Notepad++, okay, and then you would put several modifiers afterwards. So let's just start like this. Let's see if we can build from here. So I say OK. Let me close it. That way, when I double-click here, it failed to run it. So I'm sure I'm missing some sort of carriage return or some sort of character here to be able to get the command to execute completely. So that's all I'm trying to get it to do. And that's what I've had the issue. Correct. You would have a %F, but even that, even if you do the %F to add in the specific file, okay, if we do that, it still won't run it, even though it's trying to pass it on to the OS. So I don't know if it's a permissions issue. I've never been able to 100% sort it out. Okay, I've tried leaving. Someone just suggested to leave it without the start. I have tried that. It doesn't. I don't think it'll work. Let's just do it for giggles. Yeah, and it's interesting because if you run it from from the command line, from CMD, the command prompt. If we do start Notepad++, and we put, some file name, it'll usually work. Like even if I just leave it at that, it'll start. The user just sent in a different suggestion. Let me try it. Let's see if that gives me something. Options, Notepad, .exe, sign F. Nope, doesn't work for me. Maybe Eagle doesn't like spaces in the path. It could be. We could try it. Because Eagle is just sending this to the OS to call that program, and then it's passing on that information. So let me see if I try that, see if that works. Yeah, for me, it's not working. However, another user has mentioned that for him it did work. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Options, user interface. Oh, that worked. That worked. So that was good. So sending in the first part of it worked. And then gives us a file, at least opens it. Probably with a little further experimentation, we could also get the other tags in. The file and the column and line number. Because if we get that, that would basically be a complete interface. Yeah, so that worked. Let me go ahead and show that for everyone that's going to see it. Options, user interface. This is the correct incantation. I'm going to go ahead and copy it into a text editor so we can see it completely. This is the correct setup. Okay? So basically, the program in quotations, then any additional parameters as %F. Okay, and as we saw before in the help, there's additional ones we can send. And I've actually researched those. Those you would have to put in with a -n on it. So let me actually try that, see if we can get those in. So if we go to Notepad++, command line hooks, command line switches, here we are. Here they are for Notepad++. You can use a -n for the line number, and then a -c for the column number. So let's see if we can take it all the way. Put a space, -n, %L, and -c, %C. That's probably asking for too much, but let's see if it'll work. No, it works. That will work. Huh. So full incantation. Let's get the whole thing now. Bring it up so that everyone can see it. Yeah, we can probably arrange it differently if need be as well. Okay. Q&A. Okay. Someone's asking for me to show this again. What needs to be shown again? There's a full incantation. I'm going to leave it there so you guys can see it. Basically take that, copy it into here, and that sets up Notepad++ for any issues. Now to really exercise that column thing, let me think of what's a good test. I need a ULP to bomb. Okay, I know what I can do. What is a line and column info being sent? That's in the case of an error, for example. So that's why I said I need a ULP to bomb, and I got an idea to test it. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK here to leave that there. And let me pick the Blue Materials ULP. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to purposely make it bomb by dropping that here. Okay? I'm going to save it, and what's going to happen is, hopefully, if I run this, let's say on the schematic, check use libraries bombs for, they shouldn't, the check use library shouldn't bomb normally. But let me try it. ULP, see if we get check use libraries to bomb. No, for me it works. Oh, that's a cool ULP. Let's run this one. Okay, see how it failed? Syntax error. If I say OK, it should open up, and it does, and it goes to a specific line and number. So that was perfect. Okay, someone has a Windows 10. See, so it took me to line 48, the one that had the issue, and to a specific column. So that's the idea with having that full command. So that's excellent. That's the full command for setting up an external text editor. Thank you, guys. Between all of you, we got it working. So thank you for that. For MH, I don't know who MH is, but for MH, send me an email about that afterwards to see what's going on. Maybe you have a different version of that. Oh, Mike, it's you. Okay. Yeah. What version of Eagle are you running, Mike? That's having the issue with that ULP. 7.5. That's the one I'm running too. Okay, let's look into that. Let's look 7.5.0. Let's look into that and see what's going on with that ULP. Because as far as I know, nothing has changed on it. I'm going to go ahead and fix the bomb ULP back because I'm going to need that to be working later. Okay, so I just put the semicolon back and I saved it. Okay. Anything else, guys? Any other questions? That's basically all we wanted to analyze for this session. Oh, okay. So yours isn't getting that. Okay, let me bring up the command again for Mike. Mike, you sure you have it exactly as I'm showing here? Yep. Okay. That might require some playing with, some different setups and different things we can try. The only thing I can think of is maybe on Windows 10, which is not unlikely, they changed how the command line parameters had to be passed. So I'm not, we would have to play with it just as we did here. A couple of things you could try, as was shown before. Program files x86, Notepad++. Wait, you don't have it exactly the same, Mike. You're missing the extra .exe part. Dan's having the same issue. No, Dan's is working. Dan's is working. But Mike, I just saw in the message you sent, it's missing part of the entry. It's missing this part that I've highlighted for you. That's the issue with yours, Mike. Double check it and let me know. It's updated. No, that's not right still. You see how we have two Notepad plus pluses? You have the capital Notepad, and then you have a slash Notepad plus plus.exe. Any other questions, guys? Anything else on this part, or anything that you would like to go over? We have like a minute, 2 minutes we can go over. Okay, nice, Mike. You got it. Excellent. Uh-oh. If Notepad crashed. It should be Notepad++, right? Ah, yes, it is. Okay. Brevity. It crashed after that. Okay. It's interesting. Only thing I can think of is maybe, did you get the latest Notepad++, or do you have an older version? The latest should be 6.9.1, because it does use some libraries that maybe Windows isn't 100% friendly to. Okay. So it should be the latest. Okay. So Mike, to not hold up the rest, if you give it a few more tries, see if it'll stay open. If okay, reopen. It is okay. Cool. Awesome. Excellent. So guys, that's everything for today. If you have any other questions or concerns, please send them through the chat. Feel free to email any suggestions, anything you guys want to let me know about. Feel free to send that to support@cadsoftusa.com. Okay? Support@cadsoftusa.com. This whole webinar has been recorded, so we will be posting it up soon. Thanks, guys. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.